Now then guys, welcome back to another episode of Line Bites. No guesses where I am today. I gave it away in the last episode. We're at Norton Disney. I'm down here for 48 hours, maybe a bit longer depending on how we get on. And yeah, first time to the venue. Got here at about 7:30, 7:45 this morning, a little later than I wanted to. And yeah, it was pretty busy. Monday morning. It's probably always going to be the case, quite a high angle of turnover. Managed to find myself a decent little peg on Holdens. As I was walking around, it was the only peg that I actually saw fish rolling in, and yeah, has continued throughout most of the morning. It took me a while to get set up. When I got here, I just spent probably about 2 hours, maybe a bit longer, just searching for spots. So it's very weedy out here, particularly in the margins, and the depth goes down to just over 15 feet. So it's a marginal shelf about 6 foot. It then drops down again to about 8, and then it drops down further to 10, and then just to my rear, in the corner, there's actually a bowl that drops down into about 15-20 foot of water as well. So yeah, found some clear spots and have been putting out quite a bit of bait. The approach that I've gone for is pretty simple. I've put 2 beds of bait out, one for my left hand rod, which is down in the bay to my right, your left, and then the middle and right hand rod are just set up straight out in front at about 7.5 wraps in a clear spot that I found, and again I've put about 15-20 spods full over those. I've been fishing now probably about 2 or 3 hours. I haven't really done much filming just because I've been trying to get an eye for the water and just to try and see what was happening. There are fish boshing, and yeah, fish were crashing over my right and middle hand rod, but nothing's happened as of yet. Tactics, what we're doing again today, are like solid bags. I've got those little German rigs on that I use everywhere, and on 2 of the rods I've got little CC Moore Northern Special wafters on in yellow. I didn't have any yellow DNA baits with me, and then on the middle rod I've got a Fruitylicious that has been glugged. The reason I've gone for the yellow wafters today is I'm using a lot of corn in my mix, and I want it to kind of mimic corn. I don't have any fake corn with me. Did think I had some, but turns out it's gone missing. So the closest thing that I had were those little Northern Specials. So I've caught on them in the past, no dramas with them. So yeah, I'm feeling confident. Haven't had any line bites yet, apart from one on my right hand rod. My alarms are still playing up the RXs. For some reason they're not registering bites on the receiver. Really quite annoying, so I'm having to use them without the receiver today. But yeah, it's coming up about 3 o'clock now I think, and just reset the rods about an hour ago. I've put out a couple more spods, and that's the idea. I'm just going to keep on spodding over the top every 45 minutes or so with 1 or 2 more spods just to keep the bait going in. So fish stocking here, I think it's about 11 acres this lake with 10 pegs, and I think about 300-400 fish. They're all a mix of Simmos and VS fish, I think. They were stocked to high 20s, so I think 28 was the biggest that went in, and that was back in 2019. I'm not really sure what they're doing now. I did want to get on Turners, but when I got here this morning there was no chance. It was full and people weren't leaving today, so Holdens was just next door, and it was a toss up between here and Stocks. And this is the one that I saw fish on. I've had a look at a lot of the fish on the Norton Disney Embryo website, and they are beautiful, scaly fish, so I would like to get into them. It's the first time I've fished here, and I'm not really sure what to expect. 48 hours, so hopefully we don't have a blank. I'm only one with fish actually showing in my peg at the moment as well, so it's going to be embarrassing. The bailiff reckons that probably tomorrow morning is when it's going to happen for us. He says that what will happen is fish tend to sit out in the middle during the day, and then at night they move in along this marginal shelf, and yeah, you tend to get bites throughout the night and first thing in the morning. So yeah, I'm expecting a quiet night and some decent sleep. What I'm going to do now is just retie some solid bags, make sure I'm fully prepped should a run happen, and enjoy this sun. The weather's been pretty intermittent, lot of light showers mixed with this hot weather, so it's a bit weird. It doesn't know what it's doing, but hey, it could be a lot worse. So I'm going to get on with tying those bags now, and yeah, fingers crossed I see something showing over my spots, because I haven't seen it for a little while. As you can see by the fading light, 8 o'clock's come and passed, and it's pretty uneventful, to be honest, so far. I'm just about to get the rods changed with some fresh bags, and I'll top up the spots just before last light, and then I'll just sit and take it in. Fish haven't been crashing as much over the last hour and a half. I haven't really seen anything. Kind of gave me a chance just to get some food on and chill out. Seems like there's maybe a bit of a slick just over my left hand rod at the moment, but I'm not sure whether that's over my bait or whether it's someone spotting out an oily mix further up from me and it's just getting washed down with the wind. But yeah, first night tonight, we'll see what it brings. I don't know if I'm confident or not. If I've maybe had some bleeps or something to show me that there was a sign of life in the vicinity of my rods, then, you know, probably feel a bit more confident. But at the moment, yeah, just watching the water, and it's dead apart from this chop that's on it. You can't see anything. Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. I'm gonna get a brew on, get a couple of biscuits, and sit and watch the sun go down as it's a lovely evening. Well, to say last night didn't go to plan, it was a bit of an understatement. Rods remained pretty quiet throughout the night. Had a couple of line bites this morning at about 6:30 on the left hand rod, but yeah, unfortunately everything's wet, and it's not because we've had a fish on the bank. Mrs. also had a bit of a shocker as well. She was moving from York down to London to see some family, and we're in the process of letting our flat out in York, and she handed her keys in to the letting agents who are going to be doing viewings whilst we're both away for the next few days. She got about an hour away from London, realised that she had left all of her work stuff back in York. So cue her ringing me to try and come and grab my keys off me. Fortunately, I couldn't get out and couldn't get hold of any of the bailiffs, and yeah, she ended up having to stay at my brother and his fiance's last night when she got back to York. So yeah, I had to reel in the rods and go and have a bit of a wander around, trying to sort that out as well. We've got another 24 hours left now, and I think I'm going to have a change up. It's coming at 9:30, 8 now, I think. I'm going to reel the rods in shortly, go to the loo, pick up some more of the house pellets. What I think I'm going to do is, there's this bank of weed that basically goes around the edge of the edge of the lake, and it's about 4 feet where it is. It then drops down to about 6 foot, and the weed starts to die down with it, and then once you get to about 8, there's a clear spot. And from just doing a bit of leading around on my side of the bank here, it seems like that's the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the marker rod and just go onto the far bank and have a lead around there and try and find a decent spot that I can present 2 rods on. I'm going to continue to keep the right hand rod on the spot that I've been baiting up at 7 wraps. It's a really nice clear spot, but yeah, I just need to do something to change. Bit limited with bait. Got a lot of the house pellets and corn and things like that. Unfortunately, I only bought a limited amount of the boilies, the SLK and the S7, just because everyone said house pellets, house pellets, house pellets. So I've kind of shot myself in the foot there a bit. But yeah, we can only try. It's continued to rain throughout most of the night as well, which isn't great. And as you can see from the puffy eyes, not had a great deal of sleep. But we live and we move on, and hopefully try and get something on the bank. Today's a new day, and I'm not feeling confident. but we're fishing, so let's give it a shot. Now then guys, so yeah, it's about 10:15 and I've just been for a walk around the complex just to see if there are any other free pegs, or I could see any fish shown on any of the lakes where there's potentially pegs free, but with it being so busy at the moment, it's absolutely nothing. Pettit's lake's closed, so all those anglers that would have been on there have filtered onto the other lakes. Not being able to move and not being able to move on to showing fish on the other lakes, I kind of had to think about what I could do maybe to entice a bite, and I've decided to change the baiting tactics. So what I was using were these high oil carp pellets that I quite regularly use for most of my solid bag fishing, mixed in with the house pellets here in 8mm size, with corn, that SLK that was chopped up, and a bit of tuna. It clearly wasn't working, so what I've done is decided to go with a different baiting approach. I went back to the tackle box, tackle van, and I wanted to get some more pellets anyway. I wanted to get some 2 and 4 mils, so that's exactly what I've done. I've got some more of their house pellets here, and that's for my solid bags mix. Along with that, I've been and bought a shed load more corn, a load of the old faithful yellow peril, and I've mixed that in. What I've done is I've made a mix primarily of the house pellets and corn. I've then, for my solid bag mix, added to it this isotonic. Now, I guess everyone watches the thinking tackles and the quarter videos that are on here, and it seems to be a very popular one of the goos. Never really used it before, but I've heavily glugged my solid bag mix in this, and fingers crossed that's enough just to entice them down onto my bag. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make some solid bags up already, and then I'm going to go for a wander just round into this bay to see if I can find anything, any more clear spots or anything like that. I'm going to continue to keep one of my rods on that spot at 7.5 wraps to the opposite corner, but the other 2 rods I'm going to look to get those into the bay. I'm just going to do some leading around, see what I can find, and then potentially bait a new spot. The bailiff did say it's a margin water, particularly in the evening, early morning, so I'm going to have a look, see what I can find, and yeah, I really want to put a fish on the bank. I've also now glugged a few wafters into that isotonic as well, and I'll use those on the hook, just basically to mimic the corn that's going to be in the mix. So, fresh challenge, I'm up for it. I've just seen a couple of fish show, they're just beyond the waters of my peg. Wind's heavily dropped today as well, so I'll be able to get the bags out further than I was yesterday, which I think isn't going to be a bad thing, because most of the fish that I've seen have been at further range this morning, so I'm going to probably be fishing maybe out to about 20-21 wraps today, if I can find some spots out there, but we'll see. So without further ado, I'm going to get this sorted because I'm running out of time to catch fish. So I think it's probably fair to say that this morning's been a bit on the testing side. Like I said to you in the last entry, pulled the rods in and I was going to totally change tactics. Hands totally stink of that isotonic now. It's really like fruity, almost tart. Yeah, and tactics wise, I had a good lead around, and what I've found is over my left hand shoulder, on the left rod, I've found an area about 16 wraps out, and what happens is there's like a gully, so it plateaus up and then comes down again and then plateaus back up again. There's weed in that bowl, in that at the bottom of that dip, but on either side it seems to be clear. So I've placed one rod, the left-hand rod, on that. Now I got told by the bailiffs that about 7 rod lengths out in the opposite corner there's a nice gravel spot. I haven't been able to find a gravel spot from leading around, but what I have found is that it feels really clear, and there's a nice smooth glide when I bring the lead back, and then it hits the weed and it starts to judder. So I'll put both rods out on that and baited it with this new pellet approach. Quite a frustrating session, haven't seen anything show, but on the plus side, no one else is catching, so I can only assume that either we're all really crap or yeah, the fish just aren't on the feed at the moment. Still plenty of time left in the session. I'm just about to have some gourmet pot noodle, and then yeah, I'm gonna continue to watch the water and just see what happens. It's got under my skin, this. I really want to catch something out of there. I'm working really hard. I'm spotting every hour, hour and a half, just a couple of spots over each of the spots just to keep them topped up. And yeah, I mean, I can't try any harder than I am doing, so hopefully we're rewarded. But I mean, if not, I'm definitely going to be coming back to this place. It's really incredibly run, really quiet. You don't get people coming around going, all right mate, how long are you on for, when you're off, every 5 minutes. And yeah, once you're in, you're just left to yourself, and it is gleaming. Decent toilets and shower facilities. They've got that tackle van, and yeah, they've also got the food as well, which is just awesome. I'm really irritated that I'm going to be living back down in London again, because otherwise this place has become quite a regular jaunt for me. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. Pot noodle's getting cold, and I've got my back to the water, so yeah, let's change that and get back to the fishing. I think we can put that down as a massive fail there. Left hand rod on that new spot at 16 reps out just absolutely tore off. I was into a fish for about 30 seconds, a minute, and it just kept on taking line and line and line. It was like it was on steroids. And then seemingly for no reason, hook pull, got the rig back in. There's nothing wrong with it, it's still a functioning rig, hook point sharp. There was no breakage or failure of anything like that. The fish just fell off. It's bittersweet, because I was literally just watching the water, and on the peg opposite me on that side I saw a couple of fish crash, fortunately in the other angler's water. Now I just thought to myself, that's just my luck, isn't it, that you know, fish are boshing on that other side. And yeah, as I was sat eating some strawberries, the rod absolutely curved round and she was away. So got it back out again on one of those isotonic wafters that I've made, and put a couple more spods over the top of it. Hopefully that wasn't my one and only chance. Running and running and running, and I couldn't back wind fast enough, so I tried switching over to the clutch, and before I even had chance, well, before that it even left my head, that thought, she'd fallen off. So hey ho, you win some, you lose some. Rod's back out again on the dance floor, and we've got our best disco shoes on, so let's see what happens. So, it's been about 45 minutes since that last fish, and I've just spent that time again scanning the water. Fish are showing, and a bloke on the opposite side, over on the right hand side, which I think is peg 4, was into a fish not long after I had mine. So there's fish starting to show more frequently now, in the almost like no man's land between my peg and the peg opposite. There's a few fish boshing there, probably about 80 yards. Unfortunately I can't fish to that just due to the boundaries of the lake, but they do seem to be moving towards me. I had another fish roll over, well, between my left and right hand rod, right in the middle, so I've got a baited spot and I'm fishing either side of that baited spot. Had a fish roll in the middle there, saw 2 fish, one right in the middle and then one about rod length to the left of where I've got the baited spot. So I'm feeling confident. It's the highest my confidence has been since we've been here, and I'm genuinely thinking about staying on for a third night, so we'll see what happens. But It's looking good, the fish are showing. Weather looks like it's about to give in. It's still really quite windy, and the gusting has gone up quite significantly from what I said this morning. It's making it very difficult to cast accurately, but we're making do. Yeah, I'm feeling more confident than I have been, and it seems that that switch in tactics maybe produced that bite. I think it's a combination. I think finding that decent spot just on the edge of the that little channel gully definitely helped, and then I think the baiting scenario really did help as well. So yeah, really want to catch a fish out of here. I've just been looking at the fish on the website, and so it's 275 fish that were stocked into this lake. It's got depths down to about 30-35 feet, and yeah, 275 Simo and VS fish were stocked in here in 2019, so they must have put on some decent growth rates. And it says that on this lake particularly, they're wanting it more to be a big fish water in the future, less about runs, which is why it's lower stocked than the others. But the fish are all stunning, and yeah, they're all dark as well because the water's so clear, which, I mean, it just makes them even more appealing. Definitely the type of carp that you want to catch. So I'm absolutely gutted that I lost that fish, because it guaranteed to have been a nice one. Yeah, but that's fishing. We've still got plenty of time in the bag now. It's coming up 2:15, I think, but yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Got a banging headache that I've not been able to shift even with paracetamol, so I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to continue to watch the water. I've got some bags made up, because if the fish come into my water, then I am going to start casting solid bags at showing fish, just to see again if that produces a bite or not. But hey, at least we're fishing, eh? Right then, I'm going to continue to watch the water and eat my biscuits. Well, that was really emotional. Just sat here watching the water, and the middle rod, the one that I cast at that showing fish at about 70 yards, just went off into a fish. I was playing it. It wiped out my left-hand rod, absolutely fine with that, and got it to within, well, under my feet, to be honest with you. And yeah, it's towing the line from the other rod, and I can see it moving around in the clear water, because it's gin clear, and it looked upper doubles, if not low 20s. It was a good fish, a really good fish, felt heavy as well. And yeah, just grabbed the landing net, and all of a sudden everything goes slack, and yeah, it came off right at the net. Came back with a big ball of this weed on it, so there's a bit of Canadian in here, but there's also this surface weed as well, and it had shed the hook in this surface weed. Absolutely gutted. I've just spent the last 20 minutes since then with my little gardener weed rake just in the margins, just clearing some of the weed. You can see it on screen now, and to say I'm devastated is an understatement. I don't really know what I need to do to get a fish, or at least to land one. It's a barbless only rule here, so whereas I normally use micro barbs, I probably have a little less difficulty in losing fish with the hooks just falling out. But God, that is frustrating. It's the bane of my life. I've moved the weed out of the way, so hopefully my line lay into the lake is a bit better, but it also means that it's just not going to get tangled up. Waders are in the van. I'm in two minds as to whether just to get into a pair of shorts and Crocs again, just in case, because I mean, if I could wade through that weed and net the fish on the other side of it, then, you know, problem solved. But we've got one at the net now, so that's one lost mid-fight before we've even got it to the net. One lost at the net now, so hopefully 3 times the charm, and that is a fish in the net. But it looked like a decent sized fish. Didn't look particularly scaly, but yeah, what can you do? It was just one of those things. Got the rod back out on that same spot again as a fish just crashed over it just before I got it out, and yeah, I'm going to make some food now, and it's coming up. What time is it? We're on 1800 now, so 6 o'clock. I'll give it another few hours, because I was contemplating bringing that rod back in and putting it on the baited spot, but gonna put it back out there again. Maybe single bags, solid bags of the way forward rather than beds of bait. Don't know. But I'll put another few spots out on both spots because I might end up moving that middle rod back to my spot that I've been fishing at 7 wraps out, and yeah, we can only play it by there. It's emotional. That's fishing though, isn't it? Maybe I just, yeah, maybe I'm meant to stay that third night and get the biggest fish in the lake. Hashtag new lake record, who knows, but God, it's frustrating. Well, we've done it. We finally managed to put a Norton Disney fish on the net, and it's a good one. It looks decent. Definitely high teens, maybe even bigger. It's very thick, very, very thick. Just gonna get a bit of carp care on her, then we'll get her up. It's kind of, I think, what you think of classic when you see simmos, just big and round. Yeah, so this again came to the middle rod. I was just, as before, just casting shown fish. Came about, I'd say 65-70 yards out, pretty much in the same spot as the last one. So yeah, great little result there. Just going to weigh her quickly now, and then yeah, we'll get her up for the camera. So that's saying 21.15. Let's get her out and have a look at our prize. Right then, so this is what we've got for our efforts. Really, really thick set fish, this one. Absolute clonker. Absolute clonker. Let's just get that dirt off it. Oh, a bit of a leech there as well. Get rid of that for you, mate. Right then, so there you go, look at that. 21.6 of Norton Disney Holdens mirror. I'm over the moon with this fish. Worked so hard for it. Worked so hard. We'll get it down and just show the other side. Okay. There you go. I mean, what's better than that, eh? It's been a really testing session, and I think maybe just single solid bags are the way to go with these fish. I think they're seeing a lot of bait, and yeah, it's just picking off the odd fish. So here's to this fish. Thank you very much. You are so welcome, and I am over the moon. Get it. There we go. What a fish. What a fish. Well guys, what a result that was. Cast out 65-70 yards to shown fish. Bittersweet, because I tried getting the rod out straight away again and had 2 snap-offs, and yeah, going through my solid bag stems like nobody's business. So I need to get some more barbless hooks in the morning from the tackle van, and tie up some new rigs, because at the moment I'm down to 3 that are fishing and then 1 that's pre-tied, ready to go. It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm not sure if I just said that, but yeah, it's just gone 8 o'clock, and fish are still boshing just beyond where I've cast that solid bag to. I think I'm presented on a clear area there. I cast exactly to the same spot as last time, and I think the fact that I'm not fishing over bait there and it's just a solid bag maybe making the fish a bit more confident when they go in to pick that bait up. I think because there's that many people treating this lake particular like it's a linear lake where they're just spotting constantly every hour 45, myself included to start with, I think the fish are just put off by large beds of bait. I don't think they're moving around in massive shoals like they would on, say, B1 or B2 or the runs waters on here. I think it's Hodgetts and Billies. I stand to be corrected. So I think they move around in shoals, but I don't think they're massive shoals. So I also think they got smashed on large beds of bait to start with, and maybe they're a bit more savvy to it at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure, I'm only conspiring, but that's what's working for me at the moment, just single bags. So what I've done is I've put out my other 2 rods left and right, and I've put them maybe a rod length to the left on a clear spot of where I've been baiting, and then a rod length to the right of the other clear spot that I've been baiting, on a clear spot next to where I've been baiting, should I say. And I'm hoping that picks off a couple of fish. I've left my 7 wrap spot pretty much straight out in front of me for quite a few hours now, pretty much since I moved the left and right wrong, the middle and the right hand rod to showing fish. So I'm hoping that that bit of time with pressure off has allowed fish to come in. It's also probably made the pellets age a bit, so hopefully it'll look a bit older, and they maybe feel a bit more confident feeding on it, but who knows. All I'm buzzing about is the fact that I had that fish. Heart was in my mouth, and yeah, raced into the water with the net, didn't even give it a second chance. Didn't fight as strong as the other 2. Made a few of those runs, those really aggressive runs, but like, it was short and sharp, nothing compared to the other 2 fish. So I don't think the other 2 were bigger than that. I think that's something that you tend to see with smaller fish, they run more aggressively, and the bigger ones tend to prod, which is exactly what that one did until it kind of got within about 2 or 3 rod lengths. So yeah, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Couldn't be happier. So gonna get a brew on now, and hopefully YouTube, next time I see you, there is a fish on the bank. It's all to play for now, all to play for. So my rods remained static pretty much all of last night. I had a couple of liners which I thought was going to materialise into a run on my left hand rod, probably at about 3-4 o'clock this morning. It was quite twitchy, up and down line bites, pretty similar to the fish yesterday before it then tore off, but unfortunately this time it never did. Just as I was going to bed last night, I had a look on my lake bookings app, and saw that there were quite a few pegs free on Poolbridge Farm on their Q Lake. Now, knowing that one of the big fish had just come out this week, which is a ghosty common called Tammy, just over 33 pounds, the fish are clearly back up in weight, and there are fish that are bigger than that in this lake. So rather than sitting on another lake, knowing that bites were few and far between, I decided to pack up at first light, and as soon as I could, with the gates opened, I made my way back up to York, grabbed a quick shower and set up on Poolbridge. Unfortunately guys, that's where I'm going to leave you for this vlog. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do enjoy what I'm putting out there, or yeah, have any comments about how I could improve it, then please let me know. And just had a line bite on my right hand rod. Yeah, so if you enjoy what I'm putting out there, then please remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, look out for my next video where I will be at Poolbridge Farm. Alright, see you guys later.